Hey, what's up everybody? So today we're going to be talking about when you should mash, or if you're a man of culture like myself, when you should abare, especially with 4-frame normals like jabs. I've noticed that a lot of people, even in Master, tend to push crouching light punch on wake up when they get knocked down. Now in Street Fighter 5, if memory serves me correct, it was kind of an okay option, but in this game, wake up jab, like an immediate wake up jab, is not that strong. And the reason why it's not that strong is because wake up jab only really works if your opponent messes up their meaty attack timing. So here I have Ken doing a throw loop. There, I got counter hit. So the Ken dummy got the timing right. That was meaty. That was off a throw. If I record Ken doing the same thing but into a meaty attack, yeah, that'll lose too. The only time a wake up jab, like an immediate wake up 4-frame attack, is going to work is if your opponent messes up their meaty timing. And that's pretty common in pre-master, especially anywhere up until platinum, where opponents don't really have their oki timing and like their mix up like meaty pressure timing down. It's really common. So that's why I think a lot of people kind of build this bad habit in the lower ranks. But once you get to the higher ranks, generally speaking, your opponents are going to know their meaty timings and they're not really going to be messing up their meaties. So that's why waking up with a 4-frame attack is not a strong option. So when should we actually wake up with a 4-frame button, or when should we mash a 4-frame button? Well, there are a couple of situations and I'm going to outline them here. I'm going to show you exactly when you should use them, how you should use them, and why it works, and also what you can do to counter and build up some more multi-layered defense to beat your opponent's next step, like offense against your 4-frame attacks. Let's go for the easiest way to understand when to push a 4-frame attack, and that's going to be when your opponent is at +1 frames. So when you are -1. So here we're -1. Now, why should we push a 4-frame normal when you're -1? Because you might be thinking, well, I'm minus, I shouldn't push a button. But that's not true, because in this game, throws are 5 frames startup, right? So 5-frame. You're -1, you push a 4-frame move, your move is essentially going to come out in 5 frames. But in Street Fighter 6, if an attack and a throw connect on the same frame, the attack wins. And so here I'm going to record Ken doing the exact same thing, but this time I'm going to go for an immediate throw. So watch what happens if I jab. See, I got the counter hit because my jab and Ken's throw connected on the exact same frame, but I won. If I do a 6-frame move instead, I'll lose because it doesn't work in terms of frames. When you're -1, doing a jab is a great way to beat your opponent, and it stops them from going for a throw option when you're -1. So in this situation, you shouldn't just push the jab once, you should push it more than once, because if you're right on your read that your opponent will go for a throw, you'll get a combo afterwards. Now, if you're a master player or higher ranked, if you want to make this a little bit more of a higher level concept, thinking about the situation, if you beat their throw, your jab is always going to be a counter hit. So instead of going jab, jab, you should do jab into a medium attack that's going to link into your jab off of a counter hit. So from here, boom, boom, I can combo into crouching medium punch, or maybe even standing medium punch, because it's 7 frames. Guile's jab is +7 on counter hit. So if I'm thinking about max damage, that's what I want to be going for. If you're wrong and your opponent hits you, they're just going to get a combo anyways. So there's really no downside to autopiloting into your strength. So how can you practice this in training mode? Well, I would recommend just setting 2 slots, one with Ken doing a heavy dragon lash into an immediate throw, and then practice your combo, whether you want to do 2 lights into a special, or if you want to try to link into your counter hit combo, that's fine too. And then in the 3rd slot, set Ken doing heavy dragon lash into standing or crouching jab, his fastest 4-frame normal. Then turn them both on, and then just practice getting the combo on counter hit. And then if you get hit, then nothing's going to happen because you're going to eat a combo anyways. However, what can you do if you think your opponent is going to jab instead? Well, if you're -1, you can kind of flip the thing around. Let's say a couple of times in your match, your opponent puts you into a -1 situation. You pushed your 4-frame normal. You punish them for it. If your opponent is smart, especially higher ranked opponents, they'll probably change their offense. They'll stop going for throws after, and they'll start going for their 4-frame normal to beat your mashed 4-frame normal. So how can we beat that? You have 2 general options, all right? The first one is just going to be turn off your brain. Let's go for the easy option. Just do an invulnerable move afterwards. That's the first one. Lots of risk though. If they block, you're going to eat a huge combo. The second and probably better way to beat this is to try to go for a perfect parry. Going for a perfect parry in this situation is the direct counter to what your opponent can do to beat your Abare normal. That's the idea. That's a great way to kind of make your opponent feel like your defense is really, really good, and it's going to make them scared to put you in a -1 situation because they're not going to have as much confidence when attacking you as usual. Also, another situation where pushing a 4-frame jab is really good is after one of your opponent's light attacks. I'm sure you guys have fought against opponents like this. Your opponent will throw you, then they'll do a single jab on your wake up into throw. This is a really good opportunity also to push a 4-frame normal, because in this game, every single light, except for like Zangief's crouching light punch, is going to be at least -1 on block. Something like that is really good to do on wake up, whether it's mid-screen or in the corner. Pushing a 4-frame button after your opponent does a 4-frame jab or like just a single jab is really, really good. Even a 6-frame normal in this situation is going to win. So you don't have to like mash with a 4-frame normal here. Just mash with a 6-frame normal after blocking a single light attack, and you're going to be able to get an even better combo than you would have otherwise. If your opponent's trying to do things like jab into throw mid-screen, which is also pretty common, just remember, you can push a 4-frame normal and you'll be able to stop their throw. Or conversely, you can also go for a 6-frame normal because that'll also beat their throw after a single jab. So what your opponent can do to beat you pushing a 4-frame or 6-frame button after one of their jabs to stop their throw is for them to just chain their lights and then confirm into a combo. How you can counter this, if you think your opponent is going to go for chained lights, you're going to block and then... There we go. That's how you would beat them chaining their lights. You can either do that on the second hit or the third hit. This is hard to do if you haven't practiced it, so definitely go into training mode and practice your perfect parry timing, but if you're able to do this, it's a really, really strong option. So condition your opponent to make them think that you're going to push a 4 or 6-frame button after their jab, then if they adjust next time, you can try to go for a perfect parry. That's another great way to kind of turn the tables on your opponent and make your defense really multi-layered and make them think that there's nothing they can do to open you up. It's strong. How you can practice this in training mode, just like I had here, in slot 1, you're going to record Ryu or any Shoto character doing a single crouching light punch into a throw, immediate throw. And you're going to practice pushing your 4-frame or 6-frame button after that. And then in slot 2, you're going to record crouching jab, standing jab. This works with basically any standard character in this game. Then what you'll do, slot 1, you'll turn that on and you'll just practice getting your jab, either mash jab into special, or if you want to go for something a little bit more high level, linking into your medium punch from the counter hit. Then on slot 2, you're going to practice trying to perfect parry either the second hit of the jab string or the third hit. Again, you're not going to be right with your guesses all the time, but as long as you've practiced this, at least you'll be able to do things more consistently and with more intention in your matches. So definitely try it out. It's really strong. All right, so another time it's going to be a good idea for you to push 4-frame normals is when you think your opponent is going to try to overextend and kind of steal their turn back. So a really good move, it got nerfed a bit, but it's still a good move in this game, Luke's crouching medium punch. What I know it's a lot of Luke players will do, they'll do one medium punch into a second medium punch to scare you from pushing buttons. But this actually has a gap if you push a 4-frame normal right away. So imagine you are the Ryu player. I'm going to set block reversal to crouching light punch. If I try to do 2 crouching medium punches in a row, even though it's my turn still, I'm +1. If the defender attacks with a 4-frame button, I can't steal my turn back and keep on pushing my plus frames with the crouching medium punch. So I'll have to adjust as the Luke player and go for a true frame trap, which is the crouching light punch. And I know a lot of Luke players are guilty of this. So if your opponent is always doing plus normal into plus normal, like a medium into a medium, just remember that's a great time for you to mash or abare on a 4-frame move, because that's going to force them to go for the less rewarding option, crouching light punch counter hit. Yeah, so in this situation, if you think your opponent's going to go for the frame trap, doing a perfect parry here is really good. Just keep in mind that you will lose to a throw. Okay, another good time to push a 4-frame normal right away and kind of abare is when your opponent has special moves that link from specials. So something like Ryu, crouching medium punch into either light Hashogeki or heavy Hashogeki. Now, I know there are lots of different mix-up opportunities for Ryu. You can add the medium punch version. I'm just using this as an example. There are lots of characters who have things that are similar to this. So basically, if Ryu wants to steal his turn, he can do something like crouching medium punch into heavy Hoshogeki, which is going to put you -2. But this move, if you're mashing in between, you can beat him. If he goes for the light version, this is a true block string, so even if you're pushing light punch, it's not going to come out. So in these situations, what you can do is a slightly delayed 4-frame normal, and if he goes for that, you'll beat him. And if he goes for the heavy version, you'll beat him out of the startup. So that's a great place to do your 4-frame normal. Now let's just be consistent. Let's check out the medium version, which does frame trap. Timing's a little bit hard, but let's go like this. There we go. So this isn't an immediate mash 4-frame normal. This is a delayed 4-frame, so kind of like fuzzy jab. In these kind of situations, if Ryu goes for like crouching medium punch into medium punch Hoshogeki, this will beat you for kind of mashing 4 frames right away. So if you delay it by just enough, you'll be able to block the medium Hoshogeki and stop the heavy Hoshogeki before the startup actually finishes. So there, I'm pushing a jab right at the frame, kind of like where the medium would connect with me. So this is like an option select. So definitely practice that in training mode, a slightly delayed 4-frame normal against moves that are either a frame trap or a steel turner with a large gap in between. If you time it just right and you delay it just the perfect right amount, you'll be able to beat both of those options. You'll block the frame trap and you'll stop the move before the startup comes out. All right, and the last situation where I think it's good to kind of mash 4-frame normals is going to be immediately after blocking a jump in, especially after heavy attacks. So let's look at a quick situation here. Akuma has a pretty buff jumping hard punch. Let's say you block this. So Akuma's going to be +7 in this situation, which is pretty good. But since he's +7, throws are 5 frames. So if Akuma goes for an immediate throw here, you're actually still going to be in block stun and he can't throw you. See how that didn't work? I wasn't even doing anything on them. I'm going to let go of the controller. There, my hands are off. All right, my hands are off. Because he's so plus, that's not going to connect. Also, if the Akuma player, or any player really, gets a jumping heavy and goes into an immediate button, let's say a standing medium punch, because he's super plus, this is going to be a block string. So again, I let go of the controller, my hands aren't on it, I block the first hit. He's so plus that Akuma can't push a button right away and beat me, right? I'm stuck in a block string. So doing something like a 4-frame light here is really good because even if you're mashing it out, it can't come out. You're in a block string. So doing it there is a good idea because there's really no risk involved. And why should you do it? Well, because what your opponent is eventually going to have to do is kind of delay their throw after the jump in. So here's what it's going to look like. There. So your opponent can either just stand there or crouch and delay it, or what a lot of people do is they'll take a little micro walk forward, kind of like as a timing help. But it's kind of hard to time this throw just at the right time when your block stun ends. So if your opponent messes up their delay or messes up their forward walk after the heavy jump in block into throw, mashing is a great idea here because you're going to get a counter hit. Doing a 4-frame normal is a great idea afterwards to try to beat their either sloppy meaty pressure afterwards or their sloppy frame trap pressure, or to counter them for trying to go for a throw, just because getting the perfect throw timing where it's a complete block string into like a perfectly timed throw is pretty difficult to do, especially because things change based on when they push the button in the air and the frame data changes. Now, of course, if your opponent hits you up really, really high, something like this, then mashing the 4-frame is not a good idea because you'll still get thrown. Remember, when there's a jump in, the frame data is going to change based on how high or how low they hit you and also what move they hit you with. But just keep in mind that there is a possibility that it's easy for your opponent to mess up their throw timing here. So doing a 4-frame normal after blocking a jump in isn't the worst choice in the world. Alright guys, so those are some of the most common ways that you can use 4-frame normal mashing or abare to kind of help improve your play in Street Fighter 6. Those are things you should go for. So remember, just don't wake up with 4 frame normals or 6 frame normals all the time. There are certain situations where they are very strong to use and also certain situations where they're weak to use, but generally speaking, immediate wake up 4 frame normal is weak. So try to practice and go over the concepts I showed you in this video, add them to your game, and I'm sure you're going to be doing much better for mashing buttons and trying to be more offensive on your defense in this game. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons because it supports me as a content creator and continues to let me make videos like this in the future. And thank you all so very much for watching. Until next time, take care.